720 WGN Radio, it's Iridian Fierro, and TNA Wrestling is returning to Chicago for 2 amazing nights at Cicero Stadium. Joining me right now is a man who's putting his championship on the line. I'm talking about TNA X Division champion, Mustafa Ali. Ali, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, love. Thank you for having me. But I do have to correct you on one quick thing. It's not my TNA X Division Championship. It's ours. It's all of ours
Ours.
because together we achieved this. Together we all became champions.
In Ali, we trust.
Thank you.
So, Ali, you've said that growing up being a TNA kid has kind of been surreal for you, and now you represent the company as a champion, and I guess you represent us as champion. So, what's that been like for you to be able to do that?
The whole thing, the whole campaign, even though it's something that I've been obsessing over and visualizing in my head for years, it still was very abrupt, when I got that fateful phone call back in, what was it, September. So there was no sense of like, oh, what's going to happen? It's like, it was more like, oh, like, we get to do this now. You know what I mean? It was a sense of like anticipation. It was good anxiety. It was good nerves. And even though I felt all these feelings going into it, it didn't really hit me until I got in the ring. I was there all day, obviously. I knew about the match. We had this agreement in place, but it's when I got into the ring and I did the Ali We Trust pose and I looked down and I saw the TNA logo. That's when I was like, oh, I'm in a TNA ring, and
Yeah.
I come from a generation that you alluded to was very inspired by TNA and everything by the six-sided rings, the AJ Styles, the Amazing Reds, the Low Keys, everyone's favorite version of Kurt Angle, all these amazing things that came out of TNA. I was very influenced by it, and not just me. So yeah, it's an honor to be one of the cornerstones, I would say, right now of TNA.
And you're going to be facing Trent Seven for the championship. Is Trent going to be different than other competitors you faced?
I'll be honest with you. I did not take Mr. Seven very seriously. And this match is supposed to be nothing more than an exhibition match. But a tag team match was set up on the latest episode of TNA Impact, in which I saw something in Mr. Seven's eyes that I don't think we've seen since his NXT UK dates. And I'll be perfectly honest with him. I did not see him as a threat. Some might say I was looking past him. Although that would be difficult to look past Mr. Seven because he's a very, very large man. I have no doubts that I will retain my championship. He is stepping into enemy territory. He is coming to my beloved hometown of Chicago. And I know it's in Cicero, smart asses. I know it's Chicago, just let it go. But my people will be there and they'll be out and support me. So I have no idea what Mr. Seven's game plan is. I have no idea how he even plans to survive the night going into the ring with one of the best in the world, let alone in his hometown. So I wish Mr. Seven luck because he's going to need it. I will say that I'm taking him a little bit more seriously now after I saw that look in his eyes on TNA Impact this past week, but nothing will change.
There was recently a New Japan show here at Winchester Arena, and I was excited to see you, and you were on the card, and I know you made the announcement that you were going to make your New Japan debut there, so that was one thing, but then you announced your opponent, and it was going to be Takahashi. How did you feel making your debut in New Japan, and also having your match be against Takahashi?
I thought that that's the beauty of pro wrestling. It's when New Japan had reached out about doing some match, and obviously I have ongoing negotiations constantly with all the best promotions in the world, as I should. But when the offer was made to wrestle Mr. Takahashi, my first thing was, well, what's the story? What's the why? And I realized that's the beauty of pro wrestling. My beef with him was that he talks to a stuffed animal. That is my issue with him. I don't respect him, and I don't like that fans follow him. I feel he's misleading people. I think he's someone that has a mental illness problem. He should be helped. So that was the basis of our match. And even when we got in, and I think people were expecting this like super junior heavyweight super high flying clash, in which they got towards the back end of the match. But the front of the match, I just wanted to show how fun Mr. Takahashi can be and how much I can play off of his character. I think people need to realize, like, I see big picture stuff. Like, there's a rematch already in place. And something as simple as me shaking, I think his name is Daryl. I can't believe the stuffed animal has a name, but he does. I shook. I couldn't even talk today. I shook Daryl's hand at the end of the match. And that actually got the loudest reaction out of everything we did in the match. And I was bleeding in that match, you know? So it just goes to show you that's how crazy and how beautiful pro wrestling can be. I think we overcomplicate it. At the end of the day, the fans they just want to be entertained. And the most entertaining thing about that match, and a lot of what happened that night, was my refusal to accept Daryl as a person until the end of the match. So Hiromu's amazing. New Japan's amazing. I'm a little more amazing, but it was an amazing night.
And since WWE, you've had an incredible run. You've mentioned that every company that you've been promoted for or show that you're booked on has sold out. Did you expect that when you announced your return, or did it kind of surprise you?
It did. It was a pleasant surprise, but I knew, and I mean this with, I mean, maybe not with all due respect, maybe I mean this with a little bit of disrespect. I've been the guy where, like, you won't out hustle or outwork me. I know that it gets played a lot, but I genuinely mean that. Like, look at the crop of talent that was released. Name one video or campaign or anything like that that was so different. Everyone else had kind of like the I'm burning myself, or I'm breaking out of prison, or I'm running from, like, it's been done, you know, the Moxley, you know. I literally established a character. I told you what I was going to do. I teased dream matches. And as soon as the video was over and they announced it, I was booked worldwide. No, I dare anyone to compare their schedule to mine in the last 6 months. I think it's like 47, 48 matches already. And that's like a full-time WWE schedule. And I'm getting paid. So things have been great for me, you know, and these sold out houses are just a result of, like, me, you know, digging my foot down in the ground, saying, this is who I am, this is what I stand for. And I don't care if it's 100 people or 10,000 people, they're going to get a show. And I think these promotions realize that, and they're really, really happy and excited to have me there. So nonstop. I'm very excited about this weekend, TNA being in Chicago, because it's the first time I don't have to get on a plane in like June? It's June, right? I don't even know what June. Yeah, like 6 months. First time I don't have to get on a plane this week. So that's what I'm most looking forward to, other than this homecoming. But yeah, the reception's been crazy. The meet and greets have been really, you get these really heartful conversations from these fans. They'll wait in line to meet you for an hour, and they just want to tell you, like, how you inspire them to change. And it's something I take for granted every day. But when I see people in line with, like, my 2016, like, 205 live, like, it's just like, well, you still have that, you know. It's cool. And it's cool seeing a bunch of kids from my background, you know, making their intentions clear, that they're like, I'm going to see you in the ring one day. It's just cool to see me in line, if that makes sense. Like, I see me when I see these kids. But yeah, I'm forever blessed, forever grateful for all that support, but it's been amazing.
And you mentioned that campaign video, and I do want to talk about that a little bit. I feel like you broke the internet for
the day was mine. Yeah.
A couple hours, maybe a couple days. I do remember watching it thinking, oh my God, it's happening. Like, this is it. It's time. What are we going to get? You know? And it was just incredible to see the reaction that people had towards them. And in the video, you said that you were going to you were going to right the wrongs of a lot of people who are currently in the industry. And you had some faces that were shown in the video package. So Okada was in there. Matt Cardona was in there. Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland. Who made that directorial decision? Did you have approval of, like, all right, these guys are the ones that I want in the video?
So it's been brewing in my head. So the inspiration for the video, I was saying, this is, again, I don't care if this comes across disrespectful, but I feel like even with wrestling matches themselves, everyone, like, there's a formula now, and everyone sticks to the formula. Everyone sticks to a formula of, like, what a match should be, what a promo should be, what a feud should be. And that's not life. Life is, sometimes you don't know where you are in your story, right? Are you on a high right now, or is impending doom around the corner? You don't know. And that's what kind of exciting. So no, I didn't really run this by anybody. I didn't call Swerve and, like, yo, is it good if I use it in a clip? I have a marketing background. That's what I studied in college. And I go, okay, I have some buzz. The number one rule of marketing is how do you exponentially grow this buzz? I have buzz right now because I got released, so people are paying attention. But how do I get New Japan to talk about me? How do I get AAA to talk about me? How do I get AEW? Like, what do? I go, well, you pick on their top stars and in hopes of responding. So sure enough, I had a clip of Cardona, who is considered like the number one indie guy, immediately replied to it on his social media and told me to go F myself. Great. But all of his people saw my video now. And I did the same thing with Swerve. And Swerve's like, the door's open. Vikingo, CMML. So the thing is, everyone was responding to it, exponentially growing my video. So it was just a marketing strategy, but I genuinely meant that. Like, look at the names that I've already gone through right now: Alex Shelley, Chris Saban, Amazing Red, Penta, Vikingo, et cetera, et cetera. Like, the names will continue on. So the names on the video will eventually be crossed. But yeah, the whole decision on the names, who is going to be in it, when, it was all me. Yeah.
Shout outs to you. Intelligent, extremely intelligent. That's all you. Pat yourself on the back.
Appreciate it.
And I feel like right now there's more opportunities in wrestling than there's really ever been before. And you were able to bet on yourself and become extremely successful. Do you think that more talent in the industry may be following in your footsteps and kind of using you as an example?
So I would say in recent memory, you would have to go as far back as like Moxley. Moxley is really the one that like walked away from a ton of money to bet on himself. Cardona is a guy that historically has reinvented himself. He's someone that I relate to in the sense where like you won't see the same Ali for like 2 years. Like once I go, okay, it's time for a change, I'll adapt. And Cardona's been doing the social media hustle since YouTube was like a new thing, as far as what the industry is going to go do going forward, I don't know if I'll be an example. I know a lot of guys in big companies are very envious of my schedule and my freedom and what I've been able to do. But at the same time, I feel every single person's different in the sense of what their financial situation is, what their home life situation is. I am forever grateful to WWE, to Triple H, to Sean, to anybody that's ever put me in that ring, because I was able to financially secure my relatives, my wife's relatives, like everyone's good right now. So if I want to go try something that might be a gamble, I can do it. I'm afforded that. I'm lucky to have that. That in itself is a blessing. I know plenty of people that would love to do what I do, but they also had to get up at 7:00 in the morning to go make their shift. That takes them an hour. You know what I mean? It's just a hustle, man, and life is hard. So I'm never going to complain. I'm never going to like roll my eyes, because I know at the end of the day, the fact that I get to chase something is a blessing. As far as your question, I don't know. It just depends on what that person's situation is. Some people, they love money enough and they love materialistic things enough that they're willing to compromise their dreams or their ambitions and something else. Some people are in this industry just for the money, but other people are, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? Go get yours, man. There's plenty of money out there. But there's other people that were getting, like me, that were getting paid very, very well. And I hate that I'm going to say this, but I just can't say the words. I can't think of a better word to say it. But I was miserable in some sense. I was creatively unfulfilled, because I was like, but all you have to do is give me 30 seconds of this, like just one little, and it was just like, it was no after no after no. And I'm a resilient guy. I was there for 6-7 years. I can take one on the chin. I'm a good soldier and all that stuff. But when I had the decision put in front of me what to do, I go, it's not even a bet, because I'm so sure of it. So if someone's in that position, I would always tell them, yeah, what's the quote? The price of regret is always higher than the price, of like whatever the fancy quote is. Yeah. I don't know the quote, but you can look it up. But that's the thought process. I go, man, regret just seems way more expensive than this check.
And you mentioned your family, and I do want to talk about your family for a little bit. You're a big family man.
Oh.
Big family man. I know you love spending time with your wife and your kids.
My kids are just too pretty. Have you seen them?
They're adorable. Social Instagram, amazing.
Thank God for my wife. They don't look like me, man. But geez, yeah, they do the worst things, and I just look at them like, I swear, if you weren't pretty.
You're so close.
but they're
Um,
so pretty.
have your kids shown interest in wrestling yet? And what do they think about you being a wrestler?
So my oldest daughter, she's 10. She's just like she's just too smart for her own good, right? So she gets it, she understands it, but she's also like super into like makeup and like clothes right now. So she's just in her own little world. She's got some cousins around her age. And when they come over, it's just like girl time. You know, they got Taylor Swift on in the basement. They're doing dance parties and making videos and they're just having a ball. So now my 6-year-old son, well, he just turned 7 a few days ago, Rayan, he's a boy. Like he's a boy. Like I'm talking about monster trucks and top rope elbow drops on me when I'm not looking, and like so he loves this. He loves wrestling, and he's always asked me if he can like come to me like when I go train and at the freelance wrestling ring in Chicago. So oh, can I come? Can I come? And I was like, man, you're gonna get bored there. I'm there for 3 hours. Like I'm so like I'm a pretty protective dad. Like they roll around, they have fun, they do jujitsu and stuff like that. But he's just enamored with it. He thinks wrestling is the coolest thing. So obviously I have like action figures and he has a few of them. So just sometimes I'll be like eating and I'll like look over in the playroom and I'll just hear 1, 2, Mustafa Ali kicks out. And like I'll look over and he's just I was like, yeah, how wild is that? Like he's got a ring, he's got my action figure. But for some reason Spider-Man always beats me up. I don't appreciate that. Son, we gotta talk about that. But and then my youngest is Dua. She's 2 years old and she can do she's the devil, I swear, but she can do no wrong because she always has her hair in these little pigtails and she's always just like looking up and Baba this and Baba that and she just gets whatever she wants and you can see the smile on my face. And then I just have the best wife in the world. The way I tell everybody about her is that I get to be Superman because when she puts her arms around me, she becomes a cape and I can fly. Like there's nothing I can't do with her behind me. There's a relentless troop. She's the rock in my life. So I genuinely mean this. I owe everything I have in my life to her. So I'm an incredibly blessed man.
That was so sweet. Oh my goodness.
I can cut a promo about my family in the ring, not so much, but for my family, sure.
That was amazing. And I know you're a Chicago guy. A lot of people don't know this, but you are a former Chicago police officer and you were born and raised in Illinois. And I'm sure being a Chicago cop was not easy. But Chicago has a lot of great places. There's a lot of great food spots, and there's going to be a lot of people in town for this show. CM Punk gave a shout out to Mindy's Bakery and shout out to Mindy's because they are amazing. But do you have a spot that you absolutely love that you want to give a shout out to?
So I'm only going to say this, and some people are going to write on me because it's not in Chicago. I mean, neither is the show really. It's in Cicero. Yeah. But I'm obsessed with this breakfast spot. So Punk shouted out Mindy's Bakery. I have to shout out these people. If anyone's familiar with the town of Bolingbrook by I-55 and is it Bountain? Yeah, I-55 and Bountain Road. There's this place called Tasty Biscuit. Shut up. Trust me. Go there. It's worth it. I feed my whole family of 5 for like $40 there. And we get a lot of food, but they have this thing called the cappuccino French toast. Guys, there's nothing in this world that has tasted better. And they never miss. Cappuccino French toast. Tell them Ali sent you. It's in Bolingbrook by I-55 and Bountain. I want to say I-55 and Bountain. No, wait, Bountain runs this way. I-55, Route 53. Route 53, I'm sorry. See, I haven't been there in a while. But look it up. Tasty Biscuit in Bolingbrook. Just so good.
So what can fans expect from this 2-day event that TNA is putting on this weekend?
Well, I got some breaking news for you, actually. If you were too slow, you're too slow. The pay-per-view event for Friday night, TNA Against All Odds, is officially sold out. Does it have anything to do with the fact that my face is on the marquee and I have a huge match? I don't know. So Friday night is sold out, but you can still watch it on the TNA Plus app. There's a couple tier packages over there. Choose which one's best for you. You can watch it on Access TV, on Fight Network, et cetera, et cetera. But it's going to be an incredible pay-per-view. We got Matt Hardy there, Nick Nemeth, Moose. Couple surprises from what I hear. I believe Jordan Grace has an open challenge to anyone. But most importantly, Mustafa Ali's on the card, and I'm defending my X Division Championship, which I refuse to relinquish at any time because until I find a Super Junior heavyweight that is better than me, which I have not, I see no need to relinquish this title. I am the best representative for the X Division, for the people of Chicago, for pro wrestling fans all over the world that love that style of the X Division. So I would say please show your support by watching online. And then Saturday is TNA Impact, where we're going to shoot, I think, 2 episodes. So you're just going to see a bunch of action, mayhem, chaos, developing stories. Me, most importantly. And Chicago knows that Chicago is a wrestling town. So what I like the most is no matter what company I work for, when they come to Chicago, they just know they have to put on a show because we know that the Chicago fans expect nothing less. So Chicago, just be you. Just come out, cheer, yell, scream. Don't get too drunk. Get home safe. But enjoy yourselves because we're going to give you one hell of a show.
Mustafa Ali, thank you so much for joining me. It has truly been a privilege to be able to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure. And before I forget, I just want to remind everybody that in Ali, we trust.
In Ali, we trust. And for more wrestling interviews, head over to WGNradio.com. I'm Iridian Fierro for 720 WGN Radio.